Reprogramming your mind using the I will not climb a ladder technique as taught by Neville. I'm going to talk about this and really deconstruct how your mind works and how you can use this in your everyday manifesting. Welcome to Patty's World. I'm Patty. I'm a manifesting and transformational coach. I teach you how to make powerful mindset shifts within your life so that you align with all the desires of your heart. Okay, so this is a viewer request. Somebody actually in the comments asked me if I could talk about the Neville, I will not climb a ladder technique. And here's the way I understand it. And I've heard it numerous times. I've heard actually the discussion that Neville gives. And then I also did some research on it. And here's how I understand it as I apply manifesting and the way I believe it's taught and why it's so significant. And it'll really give you an indication of how your mind works and why it's so significant and how we talk to ourselves. And you will be able to apply this and use this and transfer this because the approach, you can transfer this into how you talk to yourself, how you call things in, and what you're saying with your words, but also in your self-dialogue or that internal chatter. It'll help you shift the way you think, talk, and behave. Okay, so what is I will not climb a ladder? So basically, Neville had his students do this every night before you go to bed, as you're falling asleep, not before you go to bed, as you're falling asleep every night when you're in that drowsy state or that state akin to sleep, you're falling asleep, you need to imagine a ladder in as much detail as you can and imagine yourself climbing that ladder. You climb up the ladder, you climb down the ladder. And do that, for a couple of seconds, 30 seconds, a minute. You're falling asleep. You're imagining yourself in first person as if you're already doing it, climbing the ladder and coming down the ladder. You're going to do that in the morning as soon as you wake up. Imagine yourself, visualize yourself as if you're doing it like a movie scene in first person, climbing the ladder in as much detail as possible. Doesn't matter where the ladder is, just a ladder, however you visualize it or imagine it. Imagine yourself going up that ladder and down that ladder. You're going to do that for 3 days. Now, as you're doing these exercises for 3 nights and in the morning as you're waking up, first thing as you become conscious and you're in that hazy, sleepy state as you're coming to awareness in the morning, every day as soon as you wake up in the morning, and at night before you go to bed, you're going to write, I will not climb a ladder. You're going to use the word not. I will not climb a ladder. Then you're falling asleep, visualizing and imagining yourself climbing in as much detail that ladder and then coming down it, doing it several times in the morning as well. You imagine yourself climbing that ladder and climbing down from it, and then write in your journal or post it wherever it is. You write, I will not climb a ladder. I will not climb a ladder. Write it out 3 times and then read it back to yourself. And then that night, reread the statement. Reread it in the morning, post it at your workstation in your mirror and read it to yourself. You can read it out loud or say it to yourself in your mind or silently, I will not climb a ladder. Do this for 3 consecutive days and then let it go. Then move on with your life and see what happens. And I want you to bookmark this video and come back and tell me what kind of results you got from doing this. If you are going to do this, I will not climb a ladder technique, because I actually did it. And within a day, I climbed a ladder. I have a ladder in my closet. And so I was like, oh man, it was that easy. I climbed a ladder and I thought, I don't see any ladders. I wasn't consciously aware that I had a ladder. I use a ladder because I have really high shelves in my closet. And I was climbing a ladder, but I want to see you do it and see what kind of results you get from this. Now, what is the purpose of this experiment that Neville taught, or this technique that Neville taught? Well, here are the things that I was able to get. And number one and foremost is that whatever you're programming in your subconscious mind, and as you're falling asleep, you're entering the theta brainwave state, which opens your subconscious mind to programming, to imprinting new beliefs, new thoughts, and new beliefs. So if you're imagining being and doing, climbing the ladder, as if you're doing it right now in the eternal powerful now, your subconscious mind is absorbing that programming, is absorbing the command, is taking it as real. You're doing it as you're falling asleep, and you're doing it first thing in the morning as you're coming back to consciousness before your conscious mind is fully aware. And so you are essentially calling in yourself, calling a ladder, climbing the ladder, coming down the ladder. And that's how essentially manifestation works. You see yourself doing it, living it, being, having, and doing what you want to command your mind, your brain to do. and your external world will align to make it real, because your subconscious mind does not know the difference between imagination and reality, between visualization and reality. So when you're programming your mind as if it's already happening, then your conscious mind will move, because your subconscious mind is driving the boat, will move to make it real. That's why that subconscious programming is so, so powerful. And you're constantly being programmed, and you were programmed as a little kid. Most of us are operating from default programming until we intentionally start commanding our mind. And once you learn this, it will be so transformational. So that's number one. That's how things manifest, or that's how we call things into our life. Our subconscious mind will move to make it real. Number two, Law of Attraction Fundamentals, or 101. What we focus on, we magnify. Because you're focusing on the ladder and climbing it as if it's done, it's real, you're calling that into your life. You're drawing it in, you're magnifying it, you're magnetizing it. And wherever we place our attention and our energy and our thoughts and our imagination, which is the most powerful tool that we have, that is what we're drawing into our life. That's what we're calling in. That's what we are attracting. Or you could do law of assumption. You see yourself in first person as the person who is climbing a ladder, as a ladder climber. So that is what you become, the person who climbs a ladder. Law of assumption 101, law of attraction, law of resonance. You're resonating with, it has no really emotional attachment. And that's probably why it shows up so easily or easier than things you have a lot of resistance built up against, a lot of fixed ideas. And so essentially, you're attracting what you're focusing on, what you're giving your attention and energy to. That's why when you say what you don't want, even though you wrote, I do not want, you called in climbing that ladder. Which brings me to point number 3, which is NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, is that it doesn't matter that you have the word not in there. It is your focus and attention on that ladder that created it, that drew it into your life, that aligned you with it, that created the circumstance for you to call in that ladder, because in your mind, you have that image of yourself as someone who climbs a ladder. Whether it's law of attraction, law of assumption, law of resonance, you called in what you saw yourself already being, doing, and having in your mind, which goes to show you that your subconscious mind is so powerful, and it is the driving force that pushes your conscious mind into creating the kind of life you have. So when you're able to reprogram your mind and print new thoughts and new beliefs and new ideas about yourself, you transform your life. And that is the core, the basis of manifestation. You go deep within your mind and say, why am I believing this? Who told me? Says who? And then you start intentionally imprinting new beliefs on your mind. And that is the same for looks. That is the same for wealth, for abundance, for love, for relationships, for the relationship you have with yourself. If you program new beliefs that you're worthy, that you love yourself, that you're important, that you matter, that you always get what you want, and you override your conscious mind, irrespective of what your reality is showing, your subconscious mind will take it as truth, as reality, and will seek to make it real, will seek to prove you right. I like affirmations because they're a little bit softer. So I ask myself, why do I always get everything I want? Why does everything always work out in my favor? You can turn things into a question. And again, your subconscious mind will move to make it real in your reality. So I want you to think about this, really ponder it, meditate on it, and then think about, once you have this understanding and this experience, you can use it for anything. I will not get a free cup of coffee. And then you see yourself as you're falling asleep with a cup of coffee. You can do it with little things. And the more comfortable you are with manifesting, start expanding it to bigger things, dollar amounts, $10, $100, $10,000. And then you will see how easily you call things into your life by allowing yourself and giving yourself permission to believe that yes, you can have it. And it's really what you're focusing on, not the word not. That's why when you talk to yourself, you want to talk to yourself in positives, not I don't want this, because when you focus on what you don't want, your attention's still on it, and that's what you're calling in. So instead, what is the opposite of what I do want to call into my life? You focus on that and you draw it in. I hope that helped you. I want to hear your comments and suggestions and the results you get. Leave them in the comments, and I'll see you on the next video.